The Savage Mountain, K2. Imagine standing at the base of a mountain so tall and so imposing that it feels like the entire world is watching you. You're dwarfed by its sheer size, the ice and rock stretching high above, the wind howling like an untamed beast. You feel a mixture of awe, fear, and excitement deep in your gut. The air is thin, your breath comes in shallow bursts, and every step forward feels like a monumental challenge. You know what you're facing. This mountain has earned a name feared around the world. K2. At 8,611 meters 28,251 feet, it's the second highest peak on Earth, just shy of Everest in height, but infinitely more dangerous. The mountain's brutal reputation stretches back over a century. It's not just the altitude, the thin air, or the freezing temperatures that make K2 so feared. It's the unrelenting challenge it poses to anyone brave enough to attempt it. Those who dare to climb K2 face a relentless battle with nature, their own bodies, and sometimes, even with their own will to survive. Unlike Everest, which has been conquered by thousands, K2 remains a dream for only the most experienced and determined mountaineers. The mountain doesn't welcome climbers. It tests them, pushing them to the absolute limit, and it often punishes them for their mistakes. Over the years, hundreds of climbers have attempted to reach its summit, but only a select few have succeeded. K2 doesn't offer second chances. A single misstep, a moment of fatigue, or a moment of bad weather can lead to death. But despite its dangers, K2 draws climbers from all corners of the world. The allure is undeniable. It's not just about reaching the summit, it's about testing the very limits of human endurance. It's about pushing yourself beyond what you thought was possible. And for those who make it, the summit of K2 isn't just a point on a map, it's the ultimate symbol of human achievement. K2 is located in the Karakoram Range, which stretches across the borders of Pakistan and China. The Karakoram is one of the most rugged mountain ranges on Earth, known for its immense glaciers and remote valleys. While the Himalayas are home to Mount Everest, the Karakoram hosts some of the world's most challenging and treacherous peaks, with K2 being the crown jewel. The region is so isolated that reaching the base of K2 is a journey in itself. Climbers often spend weeks just getting to the mountain, navigating the rocky, dangerous terrain of northern Pakistan. What makes the Karakoram Mountains, and K2 specifically, so challenging is the sheer scale and steepness of the terrain. Unlike Everest, which has relatively gradual slopes, K2 features almost vertical rock faces and steep ice walls. These natural features, combined with the unpredictable weather, create an environment that is unforgiving to anyone who dares to attempt it. For those unfamiliar with the history of K2, it's important to know that this mountain has earned its savage reputation. It's often referred to as the Savage Mountain, a title that comes from the many failed expeditions and the high fatality rate among climbers. The first successful ascent of K2 didn't happen until 1954, more than 50 years after its first attempt. Even then, the climb was controversial, with the team leader, Achille Compagnoni, and his teammate, Lino Lacidelli, taking different routes up the mountain from their partners, creating tensions within the group. In the years following that first ascent, K2's reputation continued to grow as a place where only the toughest climbers could survive. Over the decades, many have tried and failed to summit K2. Some have died in their attempt. Others have been forced to turn back just shy of the summit, unable to continue due to exhaustion, injury, or worsening conditions. In fact, K2 has claimed the lives of over 80 climbers since its first recorded attempt in 1902, giving it one of the highest fatality rates of any mountain, over 8,000 meters. What makes K2 so deadly? It's a combination of factors. First and foremost, the mountain's weather is brutally unpredictable. The region is notorious for its extreme conditions, with heavy snowfall, high winds, and temperatures that can drop well below freezing. Storms can roll in without warning, often leaving climbers stranded on the mountain for days at a time, completely exposed to the elements. The freezing temperatures, combined with the high altitude, can lead to frostbite and hypothermia in a matter of hours. The second major factor is the technical difficulty of the climb itself. While Everest has been climbed by thousands of people, K2 has a far more challenging ascent. The mountain is covered in ice and rock, with vertical sections that require advanced technical climbing skills. The slopes are steep, often more than 60 degrees, and the climbing conditions can change rapidly. Crevices can open up unexpectedly, and sections of the mountain can collapse under the weight of climbers. But it's not just the weather and terrain that make K2 so dangerous, it's also the lack of reliable rescue options. On Everest, climbers can rely on a relatively well-established network of support teams, Sherpas, and rescue teams. But K2 offers no such safety net. The mountain is isolated, and if something goes wrong, it can take days for help to reach you. Many climbers have died simply because they were unable to descend quickly enough after an injury, or because they ran out of oxygen or supplies. Above 8,000 meters, climbers enter what's known as the death zone. This is the region where the air is so thin that the human body can no longer function normally. Oxygen levels are too low for the body to recover from exertion, and climbers are forced to make their final push for the summit in a state of extreme fatigue. In the death zone, every breath is a struggle, and every step requires immense effort. The body begins to shut down, and even the fittest climbers can suffer from altitude sickness, which can impair judgment and coordination. But what makes the death zone particularly deadly on K2 is the fact that the climb to the summit is long and grueling. Unlike Everest, where climbers often summit and descend within a single day, the summit of K2 requires a much more prolonged effort. Climbers typically spend days above 8,000 meters, battling fatigue, thin air, and the constant threat of avalanches or falling rocks. In 2008, K2 became the site of one of the deadliest accidents in modern mountaineering history. That year, 11 climbers perished in a single week, caught in a series of avalanches and storms that swept through the mountain. The tragedy highlighted just how unpredictable and dangerous K2 can be, even for the most experienced mountaineers. The disaster began when a group of climbers was attempting to summit the mountain. They had reached the summit in the early morning, but as they descended, a powerful avalanche struck. The avalanche not only killed several climbers, but it also created chaos in the base camp, where climbers and support teams were stationed. Despite attempts to rescue the stranded climbers, bad weather and poor visibility prevented any effective operation. The majority of climbers who died were in the death zone, where help could not reach them in time. The 2008 tragedy left a permanent scar on the mountaineering community, and it reminded climbers just how dangerous K2 truly is. It also sparked debates about the ethics of mountaineering, with some questioning whether it's right to risk so many lives just for the sake of summiting a mountain. Despite the risks, K2 continues to attract climbers from around the world. For many mountaineers, climbing K2 represents the ultimate challenge. It's not just about reaching the summit, it's about surviving the journey and pushing the limits of human endurance. Climbing K2 is a test of character, strength, and resilience. It's a climb that requires absolute focus and preparation, and even then, there are no guarantees. For some, the allure of K2 lies in its reputation as the world's most difficult mountain to climb. Unlike Everest, which has been conquered by many, K2 remains elusive and mysterious, a place where only the most skilled and dedicated climbers can hope to succeed. The mountain has become a symbol of human determination, a goal for those who seek to test their limits and accomplish something few others ever will. But climbing K2 is not for everyone. It's a place where climbers have to be prepared for the worst, where each day on the mountain can be a battle against nature, exhaustion, and the mountain itself. Many have tried and failed. Some have even died in their attempt. But for those who succeed, the reward is more than just the summit. It's the sense of accomplishment and the knowledge that they have conquered one of the deadliest places on Earth. K2 is a mountain that commands respect. It is a place where the thin air, icy winds, and steep rock faces challenge even the most experienced climbers. The risks are high, the rewards are rare, and the mountain has claimed the lives of many who thought they were ready. Yet, the allure of K2 remains as strong as ever. It's a symbol of the ultimate mountaineering challenge, a place where only the bravest and most determined can survive. K2 isn't just a mountain, it's a test of human endurance, a place where the will to survive is pushed to its absolute limits. And while the danger is real, for those who dare to climb it, the mountain represents something far greater than just a peak to conquer. It represents the spirit of adventure, the quest for personal growth, and the courage to face the unknown. So, what's your take on K2? Would you risk everything to stand at its summit, or is it a challenge best left to the bravest of the brave? Drop a comment below, and let us know what you think. And if you enjoyed this video about the world's deadliest mountain, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more gripping stories from the extremes of our planet. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and keep exploring.